So here's the memory I was remembering when I was 5 years old. I've been drinking. I had a few. But, so yeah, anyway. So I live in Wyoming. I live off of Burton Street. Little house. Got my family. Got my little 8-year-old boy. So I grew up down the street when I was little. We moved away from our house on Lee Street, which is a quarter mile from here. And, yeah, grew up in this house with my dad, Tom Buchman. He's a great guy. Fucking great dad. It's hard on me, but listen, this is the kind of kid I was. Different time, 1980s. I was maybe 5, top 6. I had this friend that lived on the next street over. Well, not the next street over. Actually, if you're from here, he lived right off Chicago Drive, right by the bank. And I could take you to the house now. And my dad didn't like me hanging out with this kid because, first of all, he was really naughty, like rambunctiously naughty. And we're 5. And I had a bike and I could ride it. My grandpa Buchman got me it, and it expanded my horizons. Because as soon as the day my dad let me rock and roll off that motherfucker, well, I like people. I like friends. And I would go over to this kid's house all the time. We'd play Atari. I still remember his whole house was trash. Like it was like a hoarder house or something. And all wood floors, was dirty and fat mom. And I still remember him. I remember what he looked like. And I would go over there and we would hang out. He had a pool in his backyard, which is pretty rare. And yeah, I swam in the pool and we played the video games. His mom cooked some fucking nasty food. I remember that. So anyway, long story short, I'm going to say that multiple times. I would hang out with this kid and he was naughty. I still remember he was like, one day, he was like, hey, there's this house and they got a big stack of presents. I'm not kidding you. And this is summer. And he was like, we gotta go get them, man. And I was like, hell yeah. And we went to this house. We broke into this guy's house. It was empty, it seemed like. We knocked on the door for a long time. He didn't answer. We went in. I still remember being in his green kitchen. There was a dime on the counter. And there was some other change. And I used to go to a stop-and-go bookstore on fucking Chicago Drive and get my penny candy, they were called. There was like 8 tubs of penny candy. And so I thought about money all the time. I seen that shiny-ass dime, I stole it. Then we went in the living room. We were all scared and shit. And there was a big pile of presents, just like he said. And I was like, oh, we opened the presents. I just opened them. Maybe we opened a bunch. I don't remember. But I took a motorcycle that had, you remember that rotating like assembly on the bottom with the 2 little wheels? And I don't remember how the fuck you controlled it, but I think it was just a send it thing. But it was a motorcycle. And I think his name was Ralph, but that's what I always come to in my mind. He took like a radio control car that had a wire on it with the controller. And I don't know where we got batteries or what we figured out, but me and him were playing with them in front of our house. Remember, my dad came home from work and he saw me and he says, Ryan, where'd you get that? Who's his ass? I couldn't lie. I'm a terrible liar. Well, my dad figured it out, man, he was pissed. I ain't never seen anybody so mad. I remember he went to that kid's house, got him, brought the both of us back to the house, and I still remember the guy's face when he answered the door. And my dad was madder than hell, and he said, my son stole this from you, and his friends stole this from you and made us give it back and apologize. And I could see that the man felt bad for it. So my dad was so mad. And yeah, and I gave the guy the dime back. I remember that because I didn't get a chance to spend it. That's a good lesson. That's a good dad. That's something he did. But think about this. I was 5 fucking years old or 6, riding my bike to another neighborhood, hanging out with bad kids. My parents had no fucking clue where I was, and that's not the only friend I had. I had friends all over, older girls that lived at the end of the street. Jordan, I still remember him. People that moved in after him, the Asians. I remember this girl on the next street, or the people that babysat me on one house over from her. She loved me. I still remember all these things, and they all came back to me. And it's amazing. And, yeah, so that was the story. I was really telling my friend Nate Krasinski. He was like my best friend. I grew up with him after I was like, I think we moved to Jenison when I was 7, and I think he came there when I was about 11 maybe. So I lived there for quite a while, but yeah, his parents are the best ever. Sherry and Ed. And I got a million stories. I remember everything. It's fucking, I have a photographic clear alcohol-induced memory. Well, it's only clear and photographic. No, I'm just kidding. I always remember this shit. But it must have been like trapped somewhere. Sometimes I tell the story. It's usually when I'm drinking. And but I just thought of that when I was so young, because we moved away, like I said, to Jenison when I was 7. But yeah, I had tons more. I probably have hundreds of stories. Anyway, if you watch this whole thing, fucking salute. Have a good night.